we are here with Mams Taylor, founder of Misfits Boxing and manager to one KSI. Mams, how you doing?
Very well, how are you?
I'm very well, very well. Now, we've been in this for maybe a year and a half now. How are you, because you told me before that the boxing business is much more stressful than the music business, so how are you dealing with the stresses of being a boxing promoter and organiser?
I ride horses and I rope and I have a farm, and that's my de-stressor. It balances things out, you know. So it's non-stop, but at the end of the day I'm also very passionate about combat sports in general, boxing in particular, so there's a payoff to it, you know.
A big thing that came out of the fight week was KSI, JJ to you, that he's going to be coming back to boxing. Was there anything was that a case of you guys had to convince him, or was that something organically he came?
No, after the last fight, I know him well enough to know with JJ to succeed, he's got to be passionate about what he's doing, and he basically needed a break. He'd been going super hard since 2018, non-stop, music, boxing, YouTube, all this stuff, and balancing, doing 10 things at the same time, and then with Prime and the success of Prime and everything, and the travel schedule. So I think for him, I just said, let me just hands off, let me see what he's passionate about, what direction he wants to go into. And listen, I'm going to be honest with you, I didn't ask him once. I said that exact same thing. I said, when you're ready, you tell me what's next, and that's the direction we go.
And I imagine now the talks will start soon about opponents. Calla was actually said in the press recently that there was 2 household names that you guys potentially had for JJ. I tried to ask him and probe him, and he wouldn't give me any clue. Can you give me any clue to who these are?
What do you think?
Oh, again, that's probably a no. But one name I have got for you that we've been seeing doing the rounds recently is Joey Essex. I've seen him in the gym, saw him posing next to the zone sign. Any talks with Joey or any sort of desire to get him involved?
Yes, but not for KSI. I think that'll be premature for him, and he wants to be very, he's got family background in boxing, so I think he's excited to get into the ring, and we're excited to have him.
So there's been talks with Joey's camp before?
Absolutely, yeah. Joey's going to be very committed. We've spoken daily for the last few days, and he's really on it.
Any opponents in mind yet?
I've got a list for him, so we're going to go through it. We're going to figure this out.
Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't really make sense for KSI. There's too much of an experience, skill, and size disparity. But
it's not. Listen, no disrespect to Joey Essex. He's a great name that we're welcoming, but I don't think it would be fair for him to make his debut against KSI, and I don't think it would be right for KSI to go from Tommy Fury to Joey Essex. So, if Joey builds up, has a few good fights, and develops a lot of skill, and it's going to be a fair fight where it's a challenge for both of them, then I think anything's possible down the line. But for now, that's not the fight.
But is there a little bit of a rift between them? Because Joey came out and said that he'd wallop KSI, which I guess is fighting talk, and then there was a weird little clip that surfaced of. It looked like KSI refused to say Joey's name. Is there anything you can tell us? Is there something between these two?
I think there's an underlying little tension there, but it's not. I don't think resolving it in the ring is the right thing to do right now for Joey. I don't think it's right for KSI either. So, down the line, let's see what happens and watch that space. But I mean, I don't know why they have any rivalry or beef, but interesting. Sometimes these things just develop on their own.
Sure. Any recent talks with Jake's side and his manager Nikisa?
If there have been, I'm not going to tell you yet. So, but I think Jake's going down a pathway that he's excited about, and we wish him the best.
Sure. I mean, at one point you spoke quite highly of Jake's business partner Nikisa, and then it seemed like on social media there was a bit of back and forth. Has it got to the point where the relationship there is too sour to get a deal done, or is it? I'm gonna defer negotiations to Calla if that ever happens again. I think Nikisa and I want that fight to happen. I think the people want it to happen, and I certainly don't want to be a catalyst or a reason for it not to. And I think Nikisa and I are like oil and water when it comes to business. So sometimes you just can't get along with people,
You've been married? You've been divorced?
No, I haven't.
Okay.
No.
Well, you know, if you had, you'd know what I'm talking about. It's just one of those situations.
Right, I've got that to look forward to then.
The divorce, just do the prenup.
Is there any scenario where you offer Jake the same deal that Tommy got, 183, no rehydration, and they essentially meet there?
I don't think that's a good idea, and I don't. I wasn't in favour of that for Tommy either, to be honest with you. KSI just said, look, I don't care, I don't want to wait anymore. Give him that advantage too. We gave him almost all the advantages, and you know, I'm very proud of the way KSI performed. He had a tactic in mind. He had a tactic that he developed with his team to negate Tommy's jab, and he did. And I think most people think that he did enough to win. It's unfortunate, but we move, and you know, it was a great show at the end of the day, and we're proud of that. So with Jake, I think he said numerous times he'd fight at 180. And KSI's most comfortable fight weight thus far is 175. If KSI was a full-time pro boxer, his optimum performance would be at 168 pounds, because doesn't have as big a frame. And Jake, I think, is a lot bigger, and he's getting a lot bigger as well. So I don't know if that fight ever happens, just because of the weight issues. And it's not. Listen, everyone's duck this, duck that. Jake's a duck, KSI's a duck. The reality is, I think they both have so much to lose that it has to be fair, and they both have to be uncomfortable. KSI's not comfortable at 180, you know. Jake is not comfortable at 180 either. So I think it's like the art of negotiating something in mediation. You both walk away not feeling great, but not feeling bad, you know, about the deal you've done. And I think if they're both prepared to do that, then we'll have a fight.
So from your side, because of what happened with Tommy, where you conceded to his weight, you want 180 for the Jake fight?
It's not just that. I think KSI and Jake, there's just a lot more on the line. The history they have, you know, there's a genuine dislike for each other that they have, and you know, I'm hoping at the end of the fight they shake hands and it's all over, and that's the end of that chapter. You know, it's been a long chapter, and there's a lot to lose. So for one person to give up more than the other person, it doesn't make sense for both of them. They're big names. They have their fan bases and everything else. To make that fight happen, either one of them just says, let me go for it, or they're gonna have to make an equal compromise.
And for you, that would be 180.
I think 180 is the fair number. Yeah.
Sure. Just on Tommy, you mentioned there about how great an event it was. 1.3 million pay-per-views, probably the card of the year, and then the fight ends controversially.
It did the most pay-per-view sales of the year, including all the Saudi events, including everything else. We know that for a fact. So amazing, you know, accomplishment for a company that's been around for, at that point, just over a year.
And then it ends controversially. It's got all the makings for a rematch, but it seems Tommy's come out and said he hates KSI. KSI said he would be happy to never see Tommy in a big fight again. Do you think there is, like, can we still have that rematch, or is it too far gone?
I think anything's possible. I think anything's possible. It's look. People know KSI won. A lot of people really saw that for what it was, including the pundits, or a lot of boxing analysts and experts, and I think we got to take that be proud of that victory, being against a kid who's, you know, a self-proclaimed pro boxer at a high level, aiming to become a world champion, started at 6 years old, against a YouTuber who's been boxing cumulatively for no more than 2-3 years, you know. So we're very proud of that, and I think, I don't know what's left of that story, and if it would be, you know, to prove a point, yes, let's do it again. Down the line, let's see what happens, but that doesn't excite me personally right now.
But is there not a part, you know, you're obviously know how competitive JJ is there not a part of you that thinks that he's probably not going to let it lie until he tries to at least get it back?
I do know there is a part of him that has that. So listen, let's see if it makes sense. Then we'll revisit.
Yeah. And finally, I'm going to give you a bit of time to think of this question because it's an open one. 5 stars that you could bring to Misfits. Any 5, who would they be and why?
Robbie Williams.
He's got a bit of a boxing background, hasn't he? Did a bit of training with Tony Jeffries.
He did it in LA as well. So I've known him for a long time. I haven't spoken to him for a while, but maybe I should give him a call and see if he's interested. It'd be great to have Robbie on. I've got a couple of footballers in mind that I won't name because it's actually very possible. And who else? Maybe we need. I'd like to have a couple of rappers settle their beefs here as well, you know. But with rappers, the problem is, especially in the US, if they lose a fight, they lose all their front, you know, and their whole brand will suffer with their music.
So doesn't that make the fight better?
It makes the fight better, but then, you know, for them, it might not be worth it. That's what I've struggled with the US rappers, because they all say, yeah, I'll box, give me a check, this much, that much, and then they think about it and they bottle it, you know.
So we're expecting a big year to come for Misfits.
There's so much that people don't know about yet that's in the works, in the pipeline, and if 50% of what we have planned goes ahead, then it's going to be an absolutely unbelievable year.
Well, perfect. Mams Taylor, thank you for your time.
All right, thank you.